Well, obviously, are already arising at a suitable agenda point. If you can let us know. 31123. Apologies for absence, please, Karen.
Copies have been received from councillors Brindle and Brooks.
So we're now on to 31223. The minutes of our full council meeting held on 25th of July. It's confirmed whether they are a true record. Councillors happy that they are a record? Agreed. Thank you. So now on to committee meeting minutes 31323. First up was the Amenities Committee on the 1st of August. Jeremy, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very pleased to move the minutes from our August meeting. There's no recommendations, but I would just ask or bring councillors' attention to the conversations we had about Anglia in Bloom. This is only the second year that in recent times that Thetford has invited the Anglia in Bloom judges to come to the town. They came in July. They had a good look round. And I was pleased to represent Thetford last week at the In Bloom awards ceremony. And I'm pleased to report that Thetford won silver. It's a real significant achievement, not just for our staff, because several of our staff that work on the grounds team put an awful lot of effort in this year to the various floral displays, but also a whole number of volunteers. And the judges were particularly impressed with the work of the conservation group that the town council run and their environmental work. So it's not gold. We want to get gold, but actually it's about recognising things that we are doing well as a town. But in the judges' report, they pinpoint areas for improvement as well. That will be coming back to the next Amenities Committee meeting, but very pleased to note the success that we've had thus far. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I reiterate that thanks to all those who participated in getting the places ready for the visit and maintaining our open spaces, because having had the judges visit before and chatting to them, it's not just about the certain places where they've taken, it's all the bits in between, which I know we as a town council want to improve as well. But thank you for that. On to the planning committee of the 8th of August. Councillor Wright to present. And meeting had no recommendations with 2 resolved matters, i.e. approving the minutes and looking that the council purchased the land from Brecon Council at a cost of £2,000 for to be funded from the Open Spaces Reserve. I think just to bring that to the public's attention that we chose to purchase that piece of land at Glebe Close, which is now going to be in the town council's books after, and we'll stop it being developed, which I know a number of those around this table was keen not to have happen. On to finance and personnel on 15th of August. Councillor Jeremy present.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy to move the minutes from the 15th of August. It's all resolved business. There are no recommendations.
Minutes. Here. On to the Heritage and Events Committee meeting on 16th of August. Councillor Brindle would normally present. Who we got to? Who's there?
Able to do Terry as vice chair.
Councillor Terry, present.
So move the minutes.
I think that was the only result.
Thanks for that. Resolved the minutes of the Heritage and Events Committee meeting held on 21st June, which were received by full council on 27th of June 2023, are a true record and signed initially by the committee chairman.
Thank you. So I think that was the only resolved matter that was on there. So there were no other recommendations. Okay. So on to the special allotments meeting on the 31st of August. Councillor Harvey.
Thank you. So now I'd like to move the minutes of the special allotments meeting on that date, because there's a couple of resolved issues, including one really important one. We now have 2 allotment holders who sit on the allotments committee, but in a non-voting role, which is a definite move forward.
Yeah. Move minutes. Yep. Okay, then we're on to the Amenities Committee of the 5th of September. Councillor Jeremy.
Councillor Cambridge.
Oh, sorry. Oh. Cambridge.
Over what we discussed, I don't think there was anything. So something to note was that the small grant policy, we looked at the recommendation to revise some of that and to increase the amount from £300 to £500. That was the main thing. So otherwise,
So we've got a recommendation there. We need to have a proposer and a seconder. Proposer, seconder, Mr. Harvey. All those in favour? It's carried. Thank you.
so
Thank you for that. So then on to the planning committee of the 12th of September. It's all right once more. Just resolve matters to sign the minutes of previous meetings. So move the minutes. Yep. All that. And then on to finance and personnel, 19th of September. I think it is council adjourned for this one.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm just whizzing through. Happy to move the minutes. There's a recommendation under 290/23, which is a review of the reserves policy. All of the papers relating to that item were included in your pack, so you should all be aware of that. And the points made at that finance committee meeting were adopted into the policy in the version that came to full council. So thank you for doing that. Happy to move that recommendation.
Okay, so there's a recommendation of a proposer, please. And seconder. All those in favour? It's carried. Thank you.
And the second recommendation is 293, the external audit report. If I may just embarrass him slightly, the Deputy Town Clerk has done a significant amount of work over the last few years. And it's the first time, I think for about 4 years, there's absolutely no comments whatsoever on the audit report, which is probably always a good thing from an audit point of view. So congratulations to him and the finance team at the council. The finance committee were happy with the audit report, so the recommendation is to adopt the report as presented.
Okay, so we could have a proposer, please, for that recommendation. Councillor Land, seconder, please. Councillor Brito. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no further recommendations. It's all resolved business, so move the minutes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to venues and markets committee of 20th September. Councillor Land, please.
There was a recommendation number 305 that the council adopts the media policy as presented. I move that to this council.
Thank you. Proposer, please. Peters and seconder. Jefferson. All those in favour? Thank you. It's carried. Moving on to the Mayor's remark and report. Been a busy time. We're catching up over the July-September period there. It's a great honour to represent both this council and the town going out to places. It was very nice to host the visitors from Nagawa in Japan, and thanks to Councillor Harvey, the Mayor, to join me on that. This is something which I know Councillor Journey was involved in, with the formal twinning of the Grimes Grave site with the obsidian mines over in Japan. And it's great that we're able to keep this going. And I know that the Mayor from Nagawa was very pleased to see us all once more. Plenty of stuff there. I'd just like to say that the cricket club is great to see that festival growing, and it's now established as part of the Thetford calendar. It's really nice to see the community come out in what is an affordable event for people to enjoy music in walking distance to most of the town. So it's lovely to be able to support that. I'll just hand over to the Deputy Mayor because I thank him for attending the VJ service, which I attended.
It's a great honour to be able to do that. We owe the servicemen of that, and it also ties in. I was also well pleased to attend the Battle of Britain commemoration service. We must not forget, if it wasn't for the pilots, Europe, Canada, Great Britain, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this. And so it's a great honour to attend that. And also to present a local resident with a bunch of flowers for her 101st birthday. Quite an outstanding thing. And she's a better nick than me.
Well, thank you, Councillor Harvey. I just reiterate the thanks on the Battle of Britain. It was nice to see so many councillors there to support that event, which we do owe a real debt to those that went before us. So thank you for that. So 31523, Town Council representatives on other bodies. Just go around the table. Anybody wishes to? Jefferson.
Yeah, thanks. I shouldn't for actually updates. I attended a meeting with Charles Bowen Museum for the trustees the other month. There's not too much report apart from the Heritage Master Plan, which we're obviously going to talk about later from our perspective, but just obviously that they're also heavily involved in that and are very keen to see that develop. The museum itself obviously is going to be closing down for a bit as they do a lot of maintenance on some of their old engines. So yeah, not much to update, but just thought I would share that.
Go around, Councillor Landon. No. And side of the table. Anybody on a stake?
Thank you, Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, I attended the stag as chairman of that on the 7th of September this month. The public open meeting that we had on the 7th of September was really quite well attended, but it was quite vociferous in its support for the 3 priorities. And that really was antisocial behaviour in our public space protection order area, town centre, but also antisocial behaviour with youth-related crime. And of course, that's come to a head this week on its own. Also, illegal off-road use and illegal car meets were part of the 3 priorities. So the public have asked those to be pushed forwards. Our next closed meeting is on the 4th of October 23, where we will try and ensure that the public space protection order is renewed, because actually that was first put into place in 2017 and that gets reviewed every 3 years. It's mandatory that it's done so. And every time that's done, a public consultation has to take place. Now, we all know that public consultations are notoriously poorly attended. And so it's really important that the members of the public and this council indeed do support that consultation process. I have circulated amongst the members a letter that I would ask that the council considers putting forward towards Breckland so that we support the resubmission of another 3 years of the public space protection order. We're going to review that, I believe, at the planning meeting, which is our first opportunity where we're all together. Finally, on that, I would please encourage any members of the public, or if we've got any wider bodies who have interest in safety in the town, that they get online and do that consultation process. The more people who have an opinion about it, the better we're represented in the town. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So then we move on to reports from county and district councillors, and carry on around the table. District matters. Councillor Harvey.
Yes, I'll do one. Regarding, it's been a bit of a struggle with Breckland to get them to fix a flint wall at the Ferry Road. It's taken me 3.5 years for them to own up to their responsibility. They've actually mended it now and fixed it. So the flint wall along the Berry Road is now in one place. In one piece. We're now working on the piece down towards the Bridges Road, which is owned by Flagship, and we're working with them to try and get that fixed. But that's the result after 3.5 years. Proves how past councillors worked.
Terry.
Yep, along with Norfolk County Councillor Jane James and current Mayor Stewart, we attended the Breckland Advisory Board Awards at the Charles Burrow Centre last month. Breckland Youth Advisory Board works with young people and professionals about change in the communities. The aim of YAB is to identify issues that impact on young people and to play a strategic role in meeting those needs through the commissioning of services, lobbying on behalf of young people and influencing decision makers. We also had a meeting with the manager of Costa Coffee on the retail park regarding litter. It was noted after we did a litter pick that 95% of the rubbish was via the other fast food chains on the site. I distributed emails to McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken, as well as the management who own the site, regarding the issue. Costa have been quite proactive, where they've also installed 2 new bins. So I held a meeting with the resident regarding the possibilities of a tennis club in Thetford. This is ongoing, but will involve help from Thetford Academy and Breckland District Council. I asked a question to Councillor Ashby at the recent Breckland District Council full council meeting with a review sports provision, not just in Thetford, but in Breckland. And unfortunately, again, I reported overhanging trees on Woodlands Drive and the dangerous branches sort of overhanging in Fredericks Wood, which are now starting to come down, damaged a couple of vehicles in the area, and there's also an abandoned van in the woods which has all been reported.
Further along then, any district councillors, land, district reports from Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple of things to report this month. Firstly, at both Breckland and County, we've been to Norfolk County Council today for full council. I was very pleased to table a motion on nutrient neutrality. You may have seen various bits about this in the press and also probably the national news. The government's looking to row back on laws to tackle excess nutrients going into our waterways. Particularly important to us here in Thetford, because obviously we're very passionate about our river network. Quite happy to share the text of that, but I won't go into too much detail, but that's the sort of thing that we've been raising at Breckland and Norfolk this month. At Breckland last week, I pressed the Cabinet member in relation to supplier payments. Breckland tracks the number of days it takes to pay its suppliers. It's currently at 92% of payments are made within 30 days. Why does that matter? Any of you that runs a small business or knows somebody that runs a small business, cash flow is absolutely crucial, and I would like to see Breckland Council improving on the amount of time it takes to pay people for services. Similar to Chris, very pleased to see Breckland have acted on the St Barnabas wall issue. They've also been out and about around School Lane car park. Any of you that have been down there in the last few months will see the amount of weeds around School Lane car park, all of our car parks to be fair. I raised that with the Cabinet member in August, and the team have been out and they've actually done a very good job in School Lane car park. It's significantly improved. What we need to do now is to make sure all of that is done routinely, not just knee-jerk to reports and complaints. In Norfolk County Council sphere, some of you will be aware of the Norfolk Assistance Scheme. I always make this point around September as we approach the winter. It's a very difficult time for people on low incomes when they're starting to think about Christmas, when they're starting to think about gas and electricity prices rising at this time of year. There are support schemes available. Norfolk Assistance Scheme is one of them. I've been supporting people with that this week. There are food bank vouchers available. There are fuel bank vouchers, and Breckland councillors particularly can help with referrals to Breckland. So please, if you know anybody in the community that is struggling or is concerned with the cost of living crisis and with the autumn months approaching, please do reach out. There are support schemes available. The last thing I would mention is last Thursday, Councillor Land and Mike Brindle and myself hosted a new residents meeting in the Abbey Community Centre. You'll be aware that the Abbey estate in particular at the moment have a lot of concerns about Flagship's proposed regeneration. We as a council have adopted a letter on that. It was unanimous in June or July. And I think it was about 25 residents came. We was very pleased. And they were greatly heartened by the town council's support with that letter. And that was discussed. We're going to be meeting on a monthly basis to talk about how we can improve the estate and how we can work together. And there is very much a desire for partnership working and for talking about some of the issues that exist. There's a new monthly community litter pick on the Abbey. It's the second Sunday of the month at 10 o'clock. I'm sure that a lot of the residents that came to that first meeting will come to that litter pick. So there's quite a lot of work going on there, quite a lot of bits of casework that have come up. But I'm really pleased to get that residents group going so that we have a forum to discuss the different issues. So a whole mixed bag of things there for you. But as ever, if there's anything specific you're not sure about or want to ask any questions, please do get in touch.
Councillor James, Norfolk County Councillor, got the report for us?
In the middle there, I can project both ways, hopefully. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the past couple of months have been focused on supporting residents rather than the usual round of meetings, specifically with highways issues such as trees, poor pathway reinstatements by utility companies and road resurfacing issues, as I'm sure Councillor Jeremy's inbox has been full as well. As always, persistence pays off, or nagging. I'm going with persistence. And the wooden bollards on Mountbatten Close have been reinstated by the green space there next to the shops, which I know has been a sore spot for quite some time for residents. Thank you to Councillor McCambridge for forwarding a residence issue. I'm pleased to let you know that I have an officer inspecting tomorrow. That was only reported Friday, so it demonstrates the benefits of our working together through all three tiers of local government. Those of you who are aware, I'm privileged enough to have a portfolio which includes Norfolk's Digital Division. And last week, Norfolk County Council were the proud recipients of the Access Innovation Awards at the Connect Britain Awards ceremony. This was in recognition for its work to implement a low Earth orbit solution using Starlink satellite-based services to provide effectively Wi-Fi to remote and hard-to-reach village halls. And then it spans out with a fixed wireless access to surrounding villages and properties so that we can actually get broadband out into our rural communities. I know it's not something we're particularly challenged with here, but what I would say is it's surprising some of the areas that aren't covered by that super fast broadband in Thetford as well. So there are alternative solutions out there should we need to look at those. And then, as Councillor Jones said, we had our full council meeting at the County Council today, and that saw the airing of a new video made in conjunction with other local authorities to recruit more foster carers. The question that I put to you and would like you to take back into your communities is, could you make a difference in a child's life? Even if you only have a weekend a month, you can help children in Norfolk to flourish. And hopefully, with permission of the Town Council, I'll get some more of these, leave these with you. They're information leaflets regarding the opportunities for foster carers for our young people of Norfolk. Thank you.
Well, before we leave this, I'm just going to crowbar in, which I'm hopefully, as our GTP officer, Emma Frampton, who's going to do a little bit of an update on GTP matters, and I hope we can add that to the agenda as a standing item. Thank you for coming along, Emma. Otherwise, I would have had to have done it.
I am now, but I'll come forward as well. Just a few things to update on. Stage and screen events were successfully delivered. So great example of partnership working again there for Town Council. And Breckland, just as a reminder, the objectives there were to drive footfall into the town, increase visitor spend, engage those members of the community that aren't often kind of engaged with the town or have access to events that are free. Really pleased to say that despite the fact that the first day the open air cinema was an absolute washout, although we did have one lady that sat through the whole day, bless her, under an umbrella, we had 1,500 attendees across all events, which for us I think was a great success. We have some stats from our engagement leaflets to share from that. So 92% agreed that the events brought the community together. Got a really diverse community in Thetford, and I think that's something we're really proud of. So that's great there. 90% of respondents said that the events were well organised. So that's, again, really positive and something to build on. 65% agreed that the river, the forest and heritage points in the town are some of the best things about living in Thetford. So I think that's, again, a success with the Priory and tying those bits in. And 50% stated they would like to see a music or light festival moving forward. So something to think about. In terms of next steps, we're looking to further the partnership working. So next week we're having an officer meeting with Town Council and looking at how we can tie in other partners around the town to make that a success. That links to being able to fund these more sustainably. At the moment, these are kind of solely public funded by local authorities. We're hoping to be able to apply for Arts Council funding so that it takes the pressure off of us as local authorities. So there'll be updates on that as we move forward. In terms of place branding, really excited to say that the modern manufacturing town concept is moving on. So the 28th, that's this Thursday, we've got an open day as part of National Manufacturing Day. This is delivered in partnership with DWP and West Suffolk College. This will essentially connect 290 students from year 5 and year 6 in 5 of our local primary schools with at least 4 of our local manufacturing businesses. They will go to their facilities as opposed to kind of a jobs fair type scenario. And the businesses we have involved are Warren Services, Peerless Plastics, Boniface and Baxter Healthcare. So we think that's really positive. And then there will be engagement events at the Charles Bowles Centre as well. The good thing about this is actually we've been inundated with interest from schools and businesses that we just couldn't accommodate this year. So moving into 2024, we're already having conversations on how to expand that to a wider range of businesses. It's great we've got the big key players, but I think we've got a lot of really niche independent manufacturers as well we can link to, and moving to work with senior schools as well as primary schools. Next one, which I understand is kind of hot topic at the moment, is Minstergate Underpass. So a bit of an update on this one. We have a contractor now to remove the artwork that's now damaged in the underpass. They're also going to paint the ceiling to give it a bit of lick of paint. And we've got Serco being contracted on above their contract to do a deep cleanse to remove the graffiti on the existing structure. I understand I've had feedback from residents and members, the town council, district and county, that there are some questions around the service that Serco are offering and whether it's up to scratch. They are supposed to be delivering a cleaning service once a week. The advice that I've had back from the relevant team at the council is if this isn't satisfactory, they're supposed to sweep it, collect the rubbish and give it a jet wash once a week. If that's not satisfactory, you feel that that's not being hit, then to email environmental.services@breckland.gov.uk. The cost for doing the deep cleanse to remove the graffiti is to kind of aid discussions on how town council or district can add into this is £200. So just so you know, if it's above and beyond what Serco offer within the contracts, that's the sort of cost that you're looking at. But we're hoping if we tidy the underpass up, we'll see and monitor how that's going moving forward, that it's less of a hotspot for graffiti. Finally, weeds. The Riverside units are due to open. Hopefully we'll see some tenants in there towards the end of October. So really excited about that. So working quite closely with town and county. Town have helped me track down who is responsible for those beds at the moment along the river to tidy that up. It's great on the cinema side. The other side, not so nice. So hoping to work with county and community groups to take on those planters to make sure that that's as nice as the other side. So if we're going to have new businesses coming in, an extra footfall, the perception needs to kind of match what's there in the businesses. That concludes my update.
Mr. Land.
Could I please repeat the comments I made at Breckland Council, which was to thank everybody involved in the events that were put on over the summer. I thought they were brilliant. I really did, notwithstanding that wet washout day. And express the hope that we have more moving forward. I know there is an issue with other market towns wanting the same, but I think it was a real boost for Thetford and I'd like to see it continue. Thank you.
I'll pass that on, thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Yep, thank you, Emma. I know you've been doing a lot of work on Minstergate and I'm very grateful. And I'm being contacted on a very regular basis by people that rely on that underpass, frankly, to get into the town centre. It's very well used. It isn't being cleaned regularly enough at the moment, so I'm pleased that we're going to have some deep cleans, but also some more regular cleaning. You and I have spoken about the need to address some of the vegetation in that area. There's quite self-seeded trees and weeds. I'm hoping that will be addressed, but also some of the street furniture there. There's a damaged bin, there's various damaged signs in that area. And there's also issue with flooding where the drains get blocked on a regular basis because of just the configuration. If we can tackle all of these bits together, that could and should be a real focal point for the town centre between the Priory on one side, Charlesborough Museum and the town centre on the other side. But it's definitely going in the right direction, and I'm very grateful for your efforts.
Slowly moving it in the right direction.
Thank you for coming along, and so we'll have you as a regular item on the agenda. Just a couple of matters on GTP which weren't covered there, which obviously as your representative I should have brought up in the previous item. One was looking at the boundary. It was brought up. We had a presentation by Pigeon, who are looking to accelerate the Kilverston phase 4 bit. Those that recollect when we had the boundary issue, we campaigned for quite a bit to bring the new houses that are coming on stream now into Thetford parish, and that came to be this year at the election time. With phase 4 being accelerated, previous discussions were that because the Kilverston side wasn't going to happen for many years, they said leave that be. However, with the Kilverston phase 4 coming on probably earlier than was initially thought of, we do need to start pressing for that to be brought into Thetford as well. We understand from the leader of Breckland that there is a boundary review going on as a district level, and our request for our parish to be moved forward will not be considered until that result has been dealt with. So we need to, as a town council, to write a letter that we wished for that to be considered, but that won't happen until the district boundaries have been set. But we're on the agenda. And the other thing that was brought up at Great Thetford Partnership was the need to keep pressure on walking and cycling. I was grateful to meet with Emma last week to go through what projects that we're trying to put forward to the county. There is no money at the moment for it. These are projects which potentially may attract funding in the future, but at least they're there on the shelf ready to go if we can get some money through the county. So that's just update members from the Great Thetford Partnership. Moving on then to 31723, proposed amendments to standing orders. I don't know whether anybody else can lead on this. So I've been given the task as the lead. Deputy Town Clerk, did you want to just make sure we're all in order?
Yes, what we've done, and again, I'd like to thank Councillor Terry Jeremy for doing this, is that there's one new insertion under clause 3, which is it's a new E. Sorry, on my numbering system, I couldn't get rid of the A. So look at the second sub numbering. So there's a new 3E, which is just basically, I think it speaks to itself. It enables a non-committee member to speak at the discretion of the chair. We amended H under clause 3, basically just to say the total time that members of the public can speak is still 15 minutes, but instead of being 5 minutes, it's actually 3 minutes per speaker. In clause 19, there was an amendment. There was a whole lot of wording here, and it's just been simplified to read what it says now instead of a whole lot of other words that weren't necessary. And then the last one is really just to change the reporting thing of the performance review of the proper officer into the chair of the finance and personnel committee. And then there were a number of gender references. Apparently, there's only male councillors, according to standing orders. That's now been, they're now recognition of male and female, and there's also just reference to the new committee structures, one or two changes there. And that's the only amendments that were actually done.
So we have some proposed amendments. Do I have a proposer for that? Councillor Land and a seconder? Councillor MacDonald. Vote all those in favour? Very much carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so then 31823, an update on the status of the Thetford Town Council corporate plan. Once more, I see that I've got the lead on this. What I believe has happened, we had a corporate plan many years ago, pre-COVID. Since we've been coming out of COVID, we've been firefighting and adapting to the change of the environment that we all work and live in. So I think, we've got to the stage now we do need to update this corporate plan. The previous corporate plan did need a lot of wording updates. Town Clerk, I know, has looked at some of the points on there. Did you want to add anything further? You've got a date there that you want to bring in, but is there timescale you want to?
I think really in May of this year, we approved the realising Thetford potential document. What we've tried to do is really just bring that into the new priority. So there's the linking, there's a whole lot of documentation and the supporting papers, but we've taken all those particular ideas, grouped them into priority areas, and that will then inform the corporate plan. So what we're hoping to do is get a start. We need to do, we had, for example, at Finance and Personnel, we had an investment subcommittee meeting. One of the issues that came out was the need for long-term financial planning. But we can't do long-term financial planning unless we actually have long-term objectives and strategies. So all this plan does is just starts off and says, we've got the realising Thetford potential document. How do we start incorporating that into plans, into budgets, and then we can come up with an overall financial plan, and then we can update the corporate plan for that. We have got very tight timeframes. We're looking at October, November to get the substantial amount of the work done. So there may be 1 or 2 extra committee meetings that we might call just to help facilitate that, so that can occur.
Okay, so in turn, Councillor Peters.
Just one minor point. I think it's a great piece of work actually, but there's one point in there on 8B. It says about recruiting a new communications officer. I thought we already had a communications officer, and at heritage meetings we've actually made a point of making a statement that the work they've been doing of late has been quite good, and it seems a little bit of a kick in the teeth to say, you know, you're doing a great job, but we're going to recruit someone else. Can we just have a bit of clarity? Is that the intention we are going to recruit, or we would like to sort of upgrade because we want this one more training?
Jeremy, did you wish to answer that?
Yeah, sure. Councillor Peters made me aware of this point in advance, actually, so I'm quite happy to respond. When the Unlocking Thetford's Potential document was written, we didn't have a communications officer at all for the council. It's a relatively new role. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we've seen a significant improvement over the last few months and a bit before that. So I think that probably wording needs to be amended to reflect that things have moved on, frankly. Rather than appointing new, it's about developing and supporting that role rather than, you know, starting afresh. On a number of these points, some things have moved on. That's the nature of the beast.
So I think when we come to adopt the plan, we'll have our latest version, our latest thoughts. You know, it is an evolution, and when we adopt it, you know, when it is finally drafted, it will be our best guess at the time. But Councillor Land doesn't.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With regard to this, I'd like to comment, if I may, on the support I and others have received from officers in relation to delivering the Realising Thetford's Potential document. It's, to be honest, a weighty piece of aspiration, but for the most part, officers have accepted and I think relished delivering on its meat and bones. Whether it be a new market coordinator, the brilliant work being done by the town team, cheaper rents for market stall holders, a new media policy, the new events for the market square, improved media and press releases, or even the progress made on building a new Thetford Town Council website. I wish to offer a hearty thank you to those officers who've bought into delivering our vision. Without their support, our manifesto is really just a few pieces of paper. But by them working with councillors, it's becoming a reality for everybody in Thetford. I'm not going to mention names, not least as I most likely forget somebody, but I welcome officer involvement so far and look forward to carrying on working hard together as we continue to improve this lovely town of ours. Thank you.
Just back to the update, we've got the update. Do you need anything further from this council this evening for guidance, or are you happy that you've got those timescales in place and the meetings that you need to? Because each individual committee will have their priorities, which will feed into the overall corporate plan, but obviously the costing of those priorities is something which needs to be weighed up so that, you know, when we're looking at setting the budget come end of November time, that will have an impact upon the precept setting, which we have it come the new year. I
think the purpose of the update was really just so that councils are aware of what will be on agendas and future meetings and what we're looking for when we drive in the budget to actually end up with that long-term financial plan and that corporate plan.
So just happy to note then, gentlemen and ladies. I did got that. You know. Apologies. My wife shoot me. So we're then on to 31923, update on the status of the Heritage Master Plan. And on the paper provided, the various elements of the master plan involve not just the town council, but various other partners, such as the Stanley Forth Trust, the Charles Burrell Museum. I did join a online meeting last week to get a status of where we were from our consultants, the way that they are working. They are putting together a number of costs and also, the paperwork necessary for this bid to go forward. There are meetings scheduled for tomorrow and Thursday with representatives of the Burrell Museum and also with Pigeon, because the site up on Mumford Road and Gallows Hill site is quite a site of international importance, really, with the Boudica link that we have there, and hopefully we can deliver something, and Pigeon are happily to get involved with that. So things are moving along. As you can see there, we've got an itinerary for the 18th of October with a heritage walk with Katie from the Town Council staff to look at the Town Council building, that, and then there's a presentation to the councillors at King's House. Then it's a formal Heritage Events Committee after that. But as I understand, the representatives of the people doing the master plan will be available to interact with us when we have the walk round there. And I think they may be available on that meeting. Yeah. So hopefully we can all get up to speed where we are on that meeting. So if you're not a member of the Heritage and Events Committee, you are welcome to attend and observe and even speak if the chairman so wishes. But hopefully they will all be there if you can, because it is quite an important place we are at with funding that potentially could come our way. Further questions on that one? Okay, so then 3/20/23, the update on the status of the decisions training. Go to Deputy Town Clerk once more.
Just to update councillors, one of the decisions taken at the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting was that we trail the use of decisions between now and the end of the year. A key part of that was to have training. The training did take place. We had a training session just before the 12th of September, and it was very challenging, I think, because of the technology. Not all councils have the same technology. There's a whole lot of different things. So what we're hoping is our next step for even those councillors that did attend, did indicate that they'd like further training, so we'll put that in place. But what we'll do before the next one is we'll actually try to do a team session, and we'll ensure that every councillor has got access to the software and has a basic understanding of the software. So when the training takes place, we don't spend half the meeting trying to connect and make sure that things happen, that it actually does move on, and we'll do that online. And we'll have a third one, but we'll try to do it as a Teams meeting where everyone and most councillors that have have a 9-to-5 job are able to attend afterwards. So it's really just an update to say that we're not giving up on decisions, but we still need to invest a little bit more time to get the benefit out of it. But one thing that I would like to say, I think that the consultants did demonstrate at the training session was, one is that you could actually keep a tab on tasks. So that would be a very useful one. And the second one is to use Teams as a document kind of warehouse. So instead of us as officers keep sending out documents, we'd be able to post it to a channel in Teams, and councillors would be able to access that and use that to stay up to date. So you just get notifications rather than being sent a whole lot of documents. But the main advantage of decisions, and I think this meeting is just a classic example. I think you've received information on about 5 or 6 different emails, so you'd have had to go and collate that. On decisions, you would just go to the tab, and all the documentation will be there. You will not have to go hunt for this part of the agenda or that part of the agenda. So that's hopefully what the benefits will be to councillors, because that's ultimately what we try to achieve.
Any questions? Just note that update then. Thank you. So 3/21/23, use of the town seal. I declare my interest as being the chairman of the Dad's Army Museum, although it's not a monetary matter. I just thought everybody should know that. Obviously, there's no nothing to actually decide tonight. It's just a note that that seal has been used. That is our corporate identity when we certain documents. So it's probably once or twice a year we use the town seal. Basically, it's not actually for throwing fish to a little animal in the corner. It's a seal which says that we've entered into a legal arrangement. So it's just a note. So 322/23, Thetford Town Council letter to Network Rail regarding Thetford train station signal box. Now, it's got my name at the bottom, but I suspect somebody else would like to lead on this. Terry.
Right, letter's been circulated to the members regarding restoration of the Grade 2 listed signal box at Thetford Railway Station. With its crossing, signal box, station master's house and nearby station cottages, Thetford Station is an especially well-preserved complex. Although the bridge is not included in the station listing, it is mentioned and is of significant local interest and contributes to the station. The signal box just west of the station is a Grade 2 listed building. The station was opened in 1845 as part of the Norwich and Brandon Railway, which was later incorporated into the Great Eastern Railway. The Grade 2 listed signal box was built in 1883 when block signalling was installed on the Ely to Norwich line. Like most of the other boxes on the line, it was built to the GER Type 4 design, which is distinguished by being a brick construction rather than the timber that was used on most GER boxes from the 1880s. The box has a single-storey extension to the rear on the north side. 10 years ago, English Heritage listed 5 signal boxes in the region to protect them from closure: Downham Market, Brundall, Bury St Edmunds, Wymondham and Thetford. They're all more than 100 years old and are reminders of the golden age of steam. The now disused and boarded up signal box was in use until 2012, when the area was re-signalled. We need to support our aim to get Network Rail to invest and make this Grade 2 listed signal box a key focal point on visitors visiting Thetford by train. Our town is proud of its industrial heritage and we want to see this recognised and supported.
Thank you. I'd just like to add to that, it's something that is very dear to my heart, and I know Councillor Jeremy has been campaigning on this matter for many years as well. It is sad to see that the roof structure is not watertight now and is desperate need of repair. Having contacted Greater Anglia Network Rail in the past, I know it's not high on their agenda, so I welcome this opportunity for us as a council to raise this matter with them, and bearing in mind our desire to improve station facilities, it would be added to that aim. One of the things that I potentially would like to see is, rather than just having the blank windows, the potential of using murals in those windows, just to give some kind of interest. And also, when you've got a window that's backed by a bit of wood, it's less likely to have a stone chucked through it than it's just a nice window. So I'm happy to sign this. I wonder if I could just amend the last paragraph to say, look into the possibility of using murals to add that bit of identity. Members are willing. Yeah. Are we happy? Thank you. That on. So on to 323/23, committee membership addition for the mayoral year. Consider request by Councillor Stuart Terry to join amenities for the remainder of the mayoral year. So we have a need to propose and second this one. What do we do? Yes. So we need a proposal. Propose. Yes. Second, Councillor Peters. All those in favour? Yeah. That one. So then on to 324/23, community engagement. Is there anything that we wish to raise that we've dealt with this evening? Yes.
I'm just thinking again, publicising the letter that we're going to send out and making others aware of that. I thought that might be a sensible thing for us to promote.
Yep. Okay, then on to 325/23, committee officers update.
There's nothing.
Go on, Alan. And then on to 326/23, exclusion of the press and public. Consider resolving pursuant to the Public Body Submission Meetings Act 1960. Press and public be excluded for any remaining items of business on the grounds that publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be discussed. Decision required whether to exclude the public. I would have to exclude the public. Show of hands, agreed. Yep. So thank you to the members of the public who have attended, and we see you again soon.